the string quintet.
It's much more romantic than anything I expected to hear you play, don't you?
This is the most wonderful thing he ever wrote, I think. The only thing in which you can't have the tubas blasting out every climax. Puts him under a greater discipline than he ever was in any other work. Marvelous music.
Since it's written for the stringed instruments, I suppose you can only play it for yourself.
Well, I have more pleasure playing Bruckner on the piano than most other things of that generation that were written for the piano, as a matter of fact.
Most of the recordings you've done, Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, so on, people think of as classical or else modern, altogether modern, Schoenberg, Webern. Actually, are you enlarging your repertory now?
Well, what I played in public and what I played for myself have always been two quite different things. I have pretty well been familiar with the popular piano repertoire ever since I was a teenager. As a matter of fact, in my days of glory around 12 and 13, I used to give all Chopin Liszt recitals. Those were tremendous events. But when I was about 16, I began to going through a sort of selective process. I think everybody does at a certain point, and usually in their late teens, and this was it for me. And I started weeding the things out that, not that I liked less, but that liked me less, that meant less to me really, and showed it. And so at this point, I suddenly dropped from my active repertoire all of these things which had been war horses up until then, and up until a point which I had enjoyed playing. But at the same time, as this occurred, I also became extremely interested in the literature of the late 19th century, the orchestral literature, the Strauss, Mahler, Bruckner, Wagner area. And I began making, for myself and for fun, piano transcriptions of things like the Schoenberg Chamber Symphonies and things of this kind, and of Wagner and so on. And it was a great pastime, and also it put me in touch with this literature. And to me, it's a source of greatest regret, really, that the people that I admire most at the turn of the century, Mahler and Strauss and so on, wrote nothing of consequence for the piano. Strauss has one small work for the piano with orchestra, the Burlesque.
Which you have played. Which
I played quite often. Mm-hmm. But apart from that, nothing from his mature years, and Mahler has nothing at all, really. Mm-hmm. And I'm convinced that those two especially, and perhaps Mahler in particular, could have written magnificently for the piano, if only because he had such a wonderfully defined sense of instrumental texture. Mm-hmm. It's a tragedy.